Hey there everybody, Mazarok here, and today we've got tier sets for all of the Dragonflight specs, classes, everything, all 38 of them released at once. Today we are going to be going over the tanks in particular. I did react to this live on stream yesterday, and after having sit on it and slept on it for a night, I believe my reactions are still pretty much the same. Like, I don't think it's very much different from that, but I do want to go over them and go into them in a little bit more detail to see what we got. Before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. Help the algorithm. We're barreling towards 4K subs. Thank you so much, everybody. Flabbergasted for all of the support. There is a Twitch link down below if you wish to watch me stream. The new sub goal is a Charmander 1D stream. If you want to see that, you can check that down in the links in the description below. There's also a Discord link if you want to talk about any of the tank stuff. Come on in, check it out. There's tons of wonderful people in there. And there is also a Patreon link if you wish to support me directly. Now, before we get into the tier sets themselves, there is a small part of this blue post that I do want to cover, because I think it's pretty important. We set a few goals this round for class sets. First and foremost, these class set bonuses are not as complex as the effects of 9.2 class sets. The new talent trees have resulted in a lot of changes. We want to be able to play all those classes without class sets that significantly change your rotation or resource economies. This is not to say that we won't make them more complex or rotationally impactful class sets in the future, but we find that these bonuses generally take a light touch on features like resource generation and cooldown manipulation. Another goal that came from wanting you all to have a chance to get familiar with Dragonflight's new classes is that we want these class sets to have minimal impact on your talent choices. This is very good philosophy. I like where they're going here. We want you to be able to play the way you choose in whatever content you prefer. As a result, they generally modify core class abilities or talents that are learned near the top of the tree. They may have synergies with talents further down the tree, but they shouldn't make you feel like specific builds or capstone talents are required. So this all to say, the little TLDR, is they are going to make these tier sets a little bit more boring than what we've seen in 9.2. 9.2 was our current tier set iteration, and it drastically changed quite a few of the classes, and the power level achieved by some of these was actually pretty ridiculous. So this is a common theme here, is they're going to be a little bit boring, which is fine, but if you have high expectations or the same expectations for the 9.2 class sets, you're going to be disappointed. So this is a matter of perspective and bringing your expectations down a little bit, but that's not to say that they aren't good. Blood Death Knight. When a Bone Shield charge is consumed, you have a 20% chance to generate one rune. Now, do note the wording here. When a Bone Shield charge is consumed. So there is going to be synergies here with Tombstone, because Tombstone consumes 5 charges. Now, we're already swimming pretty well in runes and runic power, so resources aren't a terrible problem for the current iteration of Blood, on beta at least right now. So there is some things to kind of see there, but it is nice. It's not bad. The 4 set is after 10 Bone Shield charges are consumed, you gain 10% damage and haste for 10 seconds. This is one where it's going to be a little lackluster in Raid, but in Mythic Plus, this can actually proc quite a bit. As long as you're in combat, a Bone Shield consumed just naturally has a 2-second internal cooldown. So technically every 20 seconds, as long as you remain in combat, you're pretty much going to be getting this 10% damage buff and haste for 10 seconds. So it's actually not a bad proc rate at all. Just with how Raid works, you're not full-time tanking, right? You know, you off-tank, taunt-off, things like that. There are a couple of fights where this might be more useful. Something like Rygolon with the high swap rate versus something like Lehuvum where there's less of a swap rate. So for how good this is going to matter depending on fight and raid, but in Mythic Plus, this is actually not going to be bad, and can proc fairly well. Alright, before we get to Guardian, Vengeance Demon Hunter. Shear/Fracture, which you're always going to be taking Fracture anyway, deals 20% more damage, generates 20% more Fury, and has a 15% chance to generate an additional Soul Fragment. This is just all around good, helps Vengeance's Vengeance is single target, all around solid 2-piece. 4-piece, Spirit Bomb and Soul Cleave. I just kind of put those two together there. Has a 12% chance to deal 50% more damage and cause targets they hit to deal 15% less damage to you for 8 seconds. Now, this is another one where in Raid, it's going to be a little bit lackluster, most likely. I don't know. The Soul Cleave one is kind of like in single target, where you're kind of, I don't even know, like, you might be running Spirit Bomb more often in Raid now with the new frailty system. We'll have to see how it kind of all works out. But in Mythic Plus, with how often that you do cast Spirit Bomb, whoo! This is going to be good, guys. This is a really good 4-piece. This is super strong. But this one here kind of contradicts what they just said in the post up above. Because right now in Mythic Plus, or for at least, the idea is that you're going to be going through the left and doing Spirit Bomb build as much as possible, and this only enforces that, where the right side of the tree for the Fiery Brand build is, like, those stonks are now kind of dropping a little bit, but the Spirit Bomb stonks are way up. So, it is what it is, but this tier set is awesome. I really like the Vengeance one. Nailed it out of the park. Great. Guardian Druid. I can't even say this thing without laughing. Gore has a 5% increased chance to trigger. Gore also increases Mangle's damage by 10%. So, when you get your Gore proc for your Mangle, that Mangle deals 10% increased damage. Not all your Mangles, just that one Mangle. This is bad. 4-piece, Mangle and Thrash deal 5% increased damage. Mangle heals you for 100% of the damage it deals. I don't know who designed this. I really don't. This is a joke. This is so bad. I don't see this going live. This will be a total rework, because basically the only thing that you get here is a 5% increased damage to Thrash. An entire 4-piece, and that's pretty much all you see. I don't know what's going on here. I really, really don't. So I'm not going to focus on that one too much, but yeah, sorry Bears. I know quite a few Bears that are really, really mad at this. So, yeah. Brewmaster 2-piece. Hitting an enemy with Tiger Palm or Spinning Crane Kick grants Brewmaster's Rhythm, increasing damage dealt and reducing damage taken by 1% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 4 times. Now, with the current iteration of Brewmaster, you're going to be hitting Spinning Crane Kick a lot more, especially in Mythic Plus, where this is pretty much always going to be up, right? You're going to have like a 100% uptime on this. You just, kind of open the pull with a Keg Smash, Spinning Crane Kick, and boom, dude, you have it. So really, really nice. I mean, like I said, it's boring, but you know what? It's not bad. For each stack of Brewmaster's Rhythm, Purifying Brew clears 3% more of your damage delayed with Stagger. So that's going to be 12% total, which can lead into bigger Celestial Brews. There's some pretty nice synergies there. All in all, this does aid Brewmaster's defensiveness, but the Dragonflight talents already do that. You're gaining access to so many defensive talents and defensive talents reworks in the positive direction for Dragonflight, where this kind of seems like they're adding more into that, but really not adding a whole much more in the offensive department. It's just a 4% damage dealt upgrade, which is nice, but really, this is kind of that middling B tier. This is going to be nice to have, but honestly, really not going to change your gameplay too much, and is going to be more impactful in Mythic Plus than it is going to be in Raid. Protection Paladin. 2-set bonus. Avenger's Shield grants you Versatility of Light, increasing the verse of you and your closest ally by 4% for 4 seconds. Now, they just reduced Holy Power generation off Avenger's Shield, and by reduced, I mean eliminated it. And this seems to be a hill they want to die on. I understand where they want to go with Protection Paladin and making Shield of the Righteous not something that you spam all of the time. But with how they did it, it really kind of hurt Avenger's Shields a lot, and your priority for hitting that button is actually a lot less now. This seems to be a way for them to increase that, but Protection Paladin doesn't really care that much about versatility. Like, for the last 2 seasons, you've been mastery stacking as much as possible with a minimal amount of verse, kind of increasing that minimal amount of verse for the higher keys that you go. But mastery has been much more of an important stat throughout Shadowlands, really. So I really don't know how to feel about this. This could be good, but this may make you want to hit Avenger's Shield more, and this may be them kind of covering those tracks, but I mean, whatever. 4-piece. Casting Hammer of the Righteous or Blessed Hammer increases your parry by X% for Y seconds and extends the duration of versatility of light by 1 second. This is... I don't like... Okay, so I don't like this. Right off the bat, I don't like this. Hammer of the Righteous only has 1 charge in Dragonflight. Blessed Hammer has 3. This, if you want to upkeep this bonus, you're going to be doing Avenger Shield, Blessed Hammer, Blessed Hammer, Blessed Hammer, and now you've got all of your Blessed Hammers on cooldown, and you're going to have this, like, 5-second, like, 4 to 5 second lull period of no holy power generation whatsoever, and you're going to be kind of stuck. Like, I don't like the playstyle that this is kind of entailing. I also don't like the playstyle of Dusk Till Dawn. That is a personal opinion. I know a lot of people love it. I am absolutely not one of them. And on top of that, Protection Paladin doesn't really give a flying fuck about parry. Like, unless this parry chance is huge, Protection Paladin, like, parry and shield classes don't mix super well together, right? Like, okay, it's nice to have that little extra defensive, but I'd much rather have an increased block chance or something, right? Like, the parry is kind of a little awkward for me. And the playstyle that this could kind of bring up is also doesn't seem too fun for me. Now, there is some sort of synergies possible with the Avenger Shield grants you versatility of light if you take the Divine Toll. Will this be a stackable buff? So if you hit Divine Toll, are you going to get 5 times worth for a 20-second 4% versatility buff? That's something to be seen and could be synergistic and very nice, and would make this 4-piece a little bit better to go. Like, a little bit better to work with, but that still remains to be seen and testing. Protection Paladin in Dragonflight is... The more that this is going on, the less I want to play it. Like, this is not looking super great for me. Protection Warrior. Revenge grants you Vanguard's Determination, increasing your damage done and reducing the damage you take by 4% for 5 seconds. We are moving away from, like, the revenge spam meta of Shadowlands, but that's not to say that we aren't hitting revenge, and you are very easily going to hit 1 revenge every 5 seconds within your rotation. That's really not a big problem to do at all, and upkeeping this buff in execute windows is not going to be that difficult, where you can do execute, revenge, execute, revenge, along with your other rage builders, right? Like, you know, because you're going to have to pepper those in. But Protection Warrior is looking to be another high APM class, not as high as Banner, so don't really worry about that. Carpal Tunnel sufferers rejoice, but this isn't looking like it's a difficult buff to maintain, and in Mythic Plus, this is going to be pretty huge, because Revenge, with all of the talents associated with it to increase its damage, and all of that fun stuff, is looking to be a very solid ability. So this is really good and an easy buff to upkeep. 4-piece. During Vanguard's Determination, gain Ignore Pain equal to 10% of the damage you deal. This is putting up the stonks for Brutal Vitality. Now, the wording on here is still a little unclear, so we're going to have to test the tier sets as they come out. Now, does this mean you just straight, if you don't have an Ignore Pain active, you just straight up gain 1? Equal to 10% of the damage you deal? Is this just an additive? But the Brutal Vitality Conduit currently in Shadowlands going into Dragonflight increases, like, takes the damage you deal and feeds some of that back into your active Ignore Pain. So there is something here to really kind of be seen and looked at, which can be really, really good and really, really solid. Honestly, I really like this tier set. I really, really do. I don't think it's like an S tier type set, but it is a very solid A+. This is Revenge is, you know, just gaining an extra 4% DR. Prot Warrior is already incredibly tanky in Dragonflight. Like, that's things, stonks are looking super good there. This helps, and I mean, anytime you get more damage reduction, why not? Take it. Increases damage done by 4%. This is going to also, the synergy as well, which I like, is you gain the Ignore Pain equal to 10% of the damage you deal. Prot Warriors have a hard time living in the execute windows of raids or high tyrannical bosses, and that's kind of where you're more dangerous, because you're not spending as much rage as you should, or ethically should, on Ignore Pain or shield blocks, because you want to execute for really big damage. Let's face it, we've all been there, right? You try and sneak in that one little extra execute when you maybe should have done like an Ignore Pain or a shield block to live, and you're kind of like, wah, wah, wah. We've all been there. We've all done it. This is actually going to help, because 10% of your execute damage, which there are ways to ramp up that execute damage, is going to feed into that Ignore Pain. Add the Brutal Vitality talent onto that as well, and you're really getting a nice feedback loop here that's going to allow you to actually hit execute more and not have to worry as much about defensives. But you're still going to have to, every 5 seconds, do the Revenge, shield block, you know, kind of get that in, using your Shield Slam or your Thunderclap to increase your rage and feed that in. But honestly, really, I really like where this 4 set is going. Protection Warriors, don't you worry. I don't know who's on Protection Warrior for Dragonflight, but man, I have to say, you have put a ton of love into the spec, and thank you so much from someone who's been playing Protection Warrior for a very long time and throughout the entirety of Shadowlands. You have done an amazing job here. Really, I thank you so much. Give credit where credit is due. The tier set, the talent systems, and all of that. So what do you guys think about the tier sets down below? Which one's your favorite? And why do you hate the bear one the most? Let me know. Is bear dead? I mean, really? Because I know I've seen quite a few bear mains be like, well, time to just sit at Ardenweald and shit and just do missions. So what do you guys think? I would love to hear that down in the comment section down below. Have yourselves a good one, and are you guys as excited for Dragonflight as I am? Have yourselves a good one. Happy tanking. Bye.